We are 8 days until Election Day, and I just heard one of the funniest things over the weekend. Joe Biden, in a interview, said Mitt Romney was not qualified to be president of the United States. And that's the funny thing about irony, is that it's so ironic. I just think about the guy that he is VP for. Without question, the most unqualified guy to ever be president of the United States, to have ever gotten even close. And that's not a right-wing ideological type of statement. This is really easy stuff. I mean, just look at the last, we just go from, let's go 1976. We'll just go the last 40 years or so. Start with Jimmy Carter. I mean, we have a two-term governor of a fairly large state in the South, Georgia. Even the guys that these guys beat, by the way, are also way more qualified than President Obama could ever dream of being president of the United States. Jimmy Carter beats a sitting president who had been vice president previously. Next up, we have Ronald Reagan, a two-term governor of the biggest state in the Union, who's running the biggest economy in the country, its own economy, or at least managing it. And especially back then, if you take California out of the country, they're still a top 10 economy in the world. I mean, if they were their own country. Reagan running that for 2 terms defeats Carter. Even the guy that he beat, Mondale, in '84, is a longtime senator from Minnesota. In '88, you got George H.W. was the CIA director before being vice president for 8 years. The guy that he beat, Dukakis, was a 2-term governor of Massachusetts, another major state. 92, a 2-term governor of Arkansas, wins the presidency, a very qualified guy, a Rhodes Scholar, Bill Clinton. 96, Bill Clinton runs against a guy who was maybe part of the Missouri Compromise. Bob Dole's like 1,000 years old. He'd been in the Senate for a lot of it. And he gets beat there, but even Bob Dole's more qualified than Barack Obama. We get to 2000, 2-term governor of Texas versus a 2-term vice president of the United States. John Kerry, who had been a long-time senator for Massachusetts, then runs in 2004. I mean, a very long time. We're talking over 30 years. He'd been there for a long time. In 2008, John McCain, who might as well have been one of the signers of the Constitution, he's very, very old and had been in the Senate for a long time. He runs against Barack Obama. Now, you have this long group of people I just gave you, winners and losers, all very qualified men, and even outside of their political lives. Just take one. Take George W. Bush, who had a very successful history in business, running a baseball team, oil company. Although he had been a successful guy, and we come to Barack Obama, a laughably unqualified human being to lead anything, much less be president of the United States. He has 2 college degrees. I guess there's that. I mean, he did go to some impressive schools. We don't know how he did. We don't know what his grades were. He's never released those grades. But we know he has 2 college degrees. He was a state senator. As in, imagine where you live right now, there's a guy or girl who represents you in your state capital. Over where I am in South Carolina, down in Columbia, there's a guy named Larry Martin who represents me in the state Senate. And I hate to degrade some of those positions, but it's not exactly high-dollar politics in a lot of places. He was state senator for a little while. His profession before that was to be a community organizer. He was an agitator. He didn't produce anything, do anything of use. He was a community organizer. Really, Michelle made a lot of the money in law for the family. Then, after a little time there in the state Senate, he gets elected to the United States Senate in 2004, starts running for president essentially in 2006. Of all 100 senators in his term, he was there for the least amount of votes. He didn't even go to work very often. And that's it. That's his history. That's his qualifications. If for no other reason, those independent voters, they're all swinging towards Romney now, if there's an independent voter listening. I mean, all the hope and the change and that sweet little cute feeling we all had about this guy in 2008? I mean, I didn't drink that Kool-Aid, but just think about the pragmatics. He's not qualified. Think about where you work. Would you take a guy has literally no experience in any of it? He's completely from the outside. He's never done anything particularly that impressive. Would you make him CEO? Of course not. Mitt Romney is abundantly more qualified to be president than Barack Obama. He's been in over his head since day one. This is a sad thing. Joe Biden is more qualified to be president than Barack Obama. Sarah Palin was more qualified to be president than Barack Obama. Had done more in her life than this guy. He's a nobody. He's not done anything. You like him. I mean, talking to Barack Obama supporters here. You have a crush on him. You think he's a sweet guy, but he's not anything impressive. He's never done anything. If we just look past just in those last 40 years or so, he's unquestionably, as I just showed you, unquestionably the most unqualified guy to be president. And so now with Joe Biden, Mitt Romney's not even qualified. It's just incredibly laughable. I think that's why it's part of the reason that this campaign of theirs is flailing. It's certainly not over, but it's starting to look good for those of us that would like to see Mitt Romney win this election. Thanks for listening.